Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Humans of Twitch. This is our first episode from our new account. So, thank you so much to everyone who's followed and joined us here today. We're very, very excited to have, a set account for this project. So, we no longer have to stream from B's channel and we can just have it kind of take off from here. So, welcome in. My name is Joyful Jupiter. I am a co-host of Humans of Twitch. I use she and they pronouns. I am about to let B and our guests introduce themselves, but please let us know if anything sounds or looks off today. We've, of course, set everything up from the beginning here on this channel, and we may have a few hiccups along the way, so bear with us. But thank you for joining us this morning. Happy Sunday, everyone, and happy time zone. A little about me. I am a queer Latina content creator here on Twitch. I play all sorts of games and do all sorts of content over on my channel on Planet Jupiter. And I am very excited to say hello to my fellow co-host, B. B, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Let me know if the audio is all good. I will talk and then it will stop revealing our previous conversation. Ro was heckling us in the chat because when we popped on our captions, they were like, Joopy, you're making me laugh. But yes, hello friends. If you are new here, my name is B. I use they them pronouns. I am a queer and disabled variety broadcaster here on Twitch. I work really hard to create sensory friendly content on my channel, so we may do a variety of things and play a variety of games, but everything's pretty soft spoken, pretty low energy, just sort of chill, safe space. We do, Animal Crossing, Stardew, Sims, indie games, all kinds of that stuff, as well as some co working and bullet journaling, just sort of body doubling and coexisting with each other. And I'm really excited to talk to Brie today because Brie was one of my very early on friends in the Twitch sphere. One of those friends that you have that relationship where it's like you don't talk all of the time, but the vibes will be chef's kiss as soon as you're back together when you're both have like the free time, which is like never. Um but yeah, I will let her introduce herself, but I'm excited.
Thank you both for having me on. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Earth Chabri. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch, part of the LGBTQIA2+ community. I'm also very dyslexic, so my words are turned around a lot. The vibes on my channel are very wholesome, mixed with a lot of chaos, so it's always a interesting time. It's lots of laughter involved, and I'm really excited to be here. So thank you both for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Our first guest of the year. It's very, very exciting to be
I know.
back on the show and to have you here. So thank you for, stepping in and also first guest on our new channel. I mean, it's just a day of first, really.
I know, no pressure.
No,
No
no, no, no.
pressure.
No
I
pressure
was
at
also
all.
giggling this morning because we had like a really coincidental setup of like our season 2 is in 2022, season 1 was in 2021,
Oh,
season 3 will be in 2023. I was like,
this
we
is
did
great.
this. We did this not on purpose, but this is perfect.
That makes my brain really happy, honestly.
Sometimes things just work out really nicely, even when you don't intend.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, now that my nerves are out, thank you to B and Bree who got me through this point because now B and I will get to talking about this later, not on today's show, but this is like the first time that we're able to plan a whole season together from the beginning. So it's really, really exciting. We've been able to divvy up all of the responsibilities that go into producing the show. And now I've taken over basically all of the technical aspects. So yeah, I'm really proud of what we've done so far. So
It's beautiful.
thank you.
Great.
But yeah, let's jump right into it. We've got 2 amazing hours to talk with Earth to Bree, and we're so excited to get to know her. And our first question, as it usually is basically just how did your content creation journey begin? How did you find yourself streaming on Twitch?
Sorry, sorry.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Everyone is asking if you can turn me and Bree up.
Yes, I
Droopy.
can. Do. All right, you both are turned up. Hopefully that will be better.
I'll let you
Better,
know.
friends. Is it good?
Are we nice and loud for you now?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
So profesh.
Okay, are we ready? Should I answer the question?
Yeah,
They
let's.
said a little more.
A little more. I can make sure I'm turned up on my end too.
Oh, you know what?
I'm always scared to touch it while GP's touching it because I'm like,
Yeah,
if we do.
Let me just do that.
I know. Okay, I'm turned all the way up on my side.
That should be better.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding.
Woo!
Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all.
Okay, wait, I totally forgot the question.
So valid. I would have also forgotten the question.
So the first question is, and this is the easiest one. No, I'm just kidding. How did your content? No test. How did your content creation journey begin, and what brought you here to streaming on Twitch?
Ooh, okay. So I I was obsessed with Sims. I've been obsessed with Sims since it came out. And basically I had found Deligracy on YouTube and I was like, hold on a second. You're telling me that people play video games and just produce things and edit them and put them on YouTube and that's what they do for a living? That's what you're telling me? And this was like maybe 2 years ago. Like it wasn't I don't know why I had never heard of this or looked into it at all ever, but I didn't. And then I became obsessed with her content and found Vixella and all these other amazing humans. And I started watching their content every day and I was like, you know what? I could do this. I could really do this. Like I'm kind of entertaining and I also play video games, so I could put that together and make a thing and it'll be fantastic. And so then I like slowly started to accumulate like a webcam and a microphone and stuff.
The goods.
And yeah, all the goods. And my intention was to start making YouTube videos. And as I was kind of like learning everything, Vixella moved over to Twitch. And she so I was obsessed with her at the time. So I was like, what's this here Twitch thing? What is this? And so I decided to watch her first ever Twitch stream, and then I was like, this is better. And so I did a couple of YouTube videos at first, and then I just like I lost my hours during COVID. I lost a lot of my hours at work. And so I had a lot more time, and I needed to do something that was from home because I had, a young baby. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go live and see what happens. And so I went live with Animal Crossing, and that's where my journey began. And then it just kind of grew from there. And I don't know what sort of expectations I had at all for Twitch. I think it was just nothing. I was like, maybe this is, it's meh, And then it just grew into this amazing thing. And I've met so many amazing people, and it's so much fun. This is the best.
The Sims YouTube watcher to Twitch streamer pipeline is real.
It's real.
I think sometimes I don't know if this is just me, but I looked at YouTube content creators in the Sims realm and thought to myself, like, I know that that's not true, but I feel like there's already so many really popular big name folks doing that thing that it feels really hard, the idea of like making a name for yourself over there, doing that kind of content, whereas Twitch feels like a little bit more accessible because there's like, all kinds of things you can do. You're not kind of trying to fit into a niche that's already feels full. I doubt it is. That's probably just a psychological thing, but it feels that way.
Yeah. No, my brain's told me the same thing, and I don't know. I think that it's really hard to grow on YouTube with just the videos at first. At first, I'm sure it's easier, or it comes easier over time for certain people. I don't know. How do algorithms even work?
Yeah, the
not in our
YouTube
favor
algorithm is a
usually.
beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
From what I understand, it takes like a lot of production prior to ever like really getting boosted onto the algorithm. Like you have to kind of
Yeah.
show YouTube that you're, you have like a vested interest in making videos before they're like, fine, I guess we'll show your content to somebody or something if we have to.
Yeah, whereas on Twitch you just get this like real-time engagement with people kind of right off the bat, which is great.
Yeah. And getting like, I think there's really something to be said for getting like live feedback also, like
Yes.
as you're creating content. And for me, like I'm very social, so I really enjoyed sitting and chatting with people where making a YouTube video is really, really cool, but there can be such delayed feedback and gratification and community building with that. And Twitch is very unique in that you can get all of that just by going live, basically.
Yeah.
So it's always been a great option to me because of that. Like I don't know, YouTube scares me, honestly. It's such a different experience.
I
It
think
is a
depending on
different
what you
experience.
like, people tend to like either start on YouTube and transition, like finding the platform that is most accessible to you, and then as you grow and as you become more, deeply invested into content stuff, kind of transitioning that following to wherever you're exploring is a little bit easier than trying to do it all from the beginning.
Yeah.
For sure. Also, the amount of time it takes to edit a YouTube video, holy heck. Oh my gosh. I was spending so much time doing that where I can just sit and be, stupid for like 4 hours on Twitch. I don't have to edit anything at all. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, I was quiet and didn't say anything for like 20 minutes there. Oops.
I saw a tweet once that Twitch streamers are just people who grew up watching YouTube but hate editing, and I was like,
Yes.
I've been attacked, but like also you're correct, so I don't think I can say anything about it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
That's so funny.
So you talked about it a little bit and how you had like less hours, but I was curious as someone who just like knows you and watches your content, like what your experience has been, not being a full-time content creator, but also really committing like a lot of your time and like sort of finding that balance between your work and what you have to do in the content realm.
It's been a lot. So it's been quite a journey because when I started on Twitch, it was in the middle of COVID. So I did lose a lot of my hours at work. I was a full time single mom at home. And I have a lot of help because I live with my family. So I live with my parents and my sister. So they're always willing to help me. But it was hard in the beginning because he was still very dependent on me. I was still breastfeeding and all that jazz. So um, basically I lost those hours. It went from like, oh, you'll get like, 10 to 20 hours a week to having zero. And so I was able, when I first started streaming, I was able to stream like 4 or 5 days a week. And I did it during Zeppelin's nap time. So it worked out kind of perfectly because then I was still able to be like attentive to him and everything, or stream on the weekends when I had babysitters available. And then over time, once the job kind of realized that COVID wasn't really affecting them that much, they could hire me back. And so now I work full time again. And I had to take down my streaming hours to 3 days a week and still be a single mom on the side of all of it. So it's been a very interesting journey. But I have my sister as a nanny now. I have my parents that help me on the weekends, and I still kind of tend to. That's why I stream so early because I usually start streaming when Zeppelin's still sleeping. And then I'll kind of go until like a couple hours after so that I can have the most time with Zeppelin as I can and still, maintain a full-time job and everything. But my job's also really chill. It's I work remotely from home. They're very much like, oh, here's your salary and, just get your work done and you'll get your salary. And that's it. So they're not really focused on hours as much as they are work. So I don't have to work 40 hours a week unless it's a week that I actually, have a lot of work to do. So I have the space for Twitch and streaming on the side, which is really really cool because this is like it's become just one of my favorite hobbies. Like, I love streaming on Twitch. I'm actually like passionate about it, and I enjoy doing it outside of like the financial aspects and everything. Like, it's great on the side and all that, but I just really am passionate about being here and spending time making content and playing video games and being silly with people. So it's been an up and down journey. I've changed my schedule so many times. My community is probably like, Brie,
No,
you're inconsistent.
No.
relatable content. I think I've had three different jobs, including periods where I had no jobs during the time that I've been streaming. So it's like everything from there was a period where I was streaming like most days to now I stream very chaotically. It's a mess, but it's a good time anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the community is so understanding usually. They're just like, do whatever you need to do. We'll be there when you go live. Love you all.
Yeah, I think that it's amazing that you've been able to have the flexibility with your job to like work from home and also be able to stream still. And I think like we as content creators are like constantly worried about changing our schedule or thinking that people will leave, but I am amazed at just how dedicated and how wonderful the like community members in our lives are, you know, because what's really cool about Twitch is you really get to know people, you know, you spend time with them every day or a couple times a week or whatever, and then it's like it really is like a chosen family, you know, it's a community. And of course we get busy and viewers get busy too, so they get that, you know, and they will come back even if you have to completely change your schedule. Who cares? We all do it.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I'm always shocked by it, and I think that I don't know. I have a guilt thing. It's the anxiety.
Yeah.
What isn't the anxiety? But I feel so guilty anytime I have to like cancel a stream or change the time or whatever, and it's all me. It's none of the community. Because every time I do it, they're like, Brie, it's literally fine.
It's fine.
Just stop worrying about it. We get it. Life happens. And I'm like, no, I'm sad.
I think for me, finally learning like processing in my head not in a negative way that no one's really sitting waiting for you to go live was like good, you know, like I know that sounds bad because there are definitely people who are anticipating your streams themselves, but most people do not have the brain capacity to be like, I'm waiting at 1:00 for Brie to go live. So when we change our schedules, it's like we're so concerned, and they're just like, we're just waiting for the like notification. Like we don't care when it goes off, so it doesn't matter.
Say that, but there's like there's at least 5 community members that are in there starting hype trains before you're even live, and you're y'all.
But here's the thing, those people, the people dedicated enough to know exactly when you go live, are the same people who are going to be like, oh no, like please take care of yourself.
Yeah,
they don't care, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
but it's hard for your brain.
Yeah,
I know. It's the disappointment thing. Like, I don't want to disappoint anyone.
Yeah.
Brains are hard. Brains
are ridiculous.
They really are. Well, just know you're not disappointing anyone, and it is okay to, you know, flex and change things as you need, because not only will it help you as a person, but your content will be better for it, you know? Like it's worse for you to try to struggle and do gymnastics to stream a lot if you're not able to, you know? So stepping back, taking breaks, changing your schedule, even though it seems in the short term that those can have such a negative impact, long term, I think that they really, really benefit the creator and the community. But it is really hard to remember those things sometimes. It's really tough.
Brains are mean.
They are mean.
I know. This month I've had to kind of step back from streaming. I told my community I'm only streaming once a week for the month of January, just because I have some life stuff going on that I need to kind of focus my attention on and everything. And it's, oh my gosh, it's very relieving to hear someone else say that. I know that logically, but to hear somebody say it to my ear holes is better.
It's a good reminder. Yeah, we need it. And it's impossible to remind yourself of that sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually like feel it and actually hear it.
Right. and believe
And
it.
I feel like we
Yeah,
also
yeah.
always assume the worst out of a change in life, whereas you never know when that change could be honestly like the best change that you make. Like I
Mhm.
know I recently changed my schedule to be like 3 to 7 and it was a different time before, and all points aside, it's just that like smoothness wise, a lot of my community members were like, this actually works out way better for me. And I was like, I would have never known that if I was
Right.
just too scared to
To
like
try
ever
it.
change it. They were
Yeah.
like, we were there before, but we were mostly lurking because we were doing things because that particular time is like when we had work, but this is more like after our work schedule. And I was like, you know, if I let fear scare me into not trying things, then like
Mhm.
you really never know
That's
what's
right.
going to happen. So,
Yeah.
That's right. Well, this isn't something that we usually ask, and I was sitting here, pondering your application, or, what you told us about yourself before we came on the show today. And I just love your username, Earth to Bree. So I was just curious, what is the origin? How did Earth to Bree come to be? Because it's a really wonderful username.
So it's a really lame story.
No, not
I
lame.
wish it was something really cool. I wish it was like, oh, my mom always used to say like Earth to Bree, which is true, kind of. But what really happened was I was my old like gamer tag used to be really lame and like have the emo X in it and stuff, and it was Bree X nerd, and it was just I had to change it as I grew a little bit older. And when I was just like contemplating it in my head, I found someone on Instagram. I don't even know what their name is, so I can't shout them out, but they were Earth to their name. And I was like, I like that. And so then I stole it from them. They were a complete stranger, but I totally stole it from them because it was so fitting for me in my life. And
you
so
heard
that's
it here, folks.
my
Real
Earth to Bree.
story.
The
Whenever
tea.
I'm gonna come to your stream, Bree, and be like, "Can you tell us the origin story of
Of your
Earth to
name?
Bree?" And then see which
Like,
story you tell us.
I'm just gonna have 10 different stories and I'm gonna pick off different ones.
That's perfect.
Wrong answers only.
Yeah.
I know. It's so lame.
No, I don't think it's lame. I think that you drew inspiration, and you found something
Yes.
that felt very fitting to you, and that person, doesn't own those words, so you didn't.
It's true.
You didn't really steal it. I think you more
Okay.
were inspired by it. I would say you were
Yes.
inspired by it.
Well, and copying is the greatest form of a compliment. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm just really complimenting that person.
It is a
So
compliment.
anyways, shout out to Earth to
Whoever. Moral of the
Wow.
story, shout out to Earth to whoever.
There's actually been a lot of people that have come to my stream that are Earth 2 and then their name.
Oh, that's cute.
I have a few community members that are just like, hey,
Oh my
we're
gosh.
name twins. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Yeah, see, Earth to Theans in here right
Oh
now.
my gosh. That's so
Oh,
sweet.
hey.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's little common things like that. Like a lot of people will do like hey and then their name, or oh and
Yeah.
then their name. So there's
Yeah.
little themes that pop up. And also, I mean, Bree and I have the struggle of we can never, even if we got partnered and wanted to put in the request, we can never have the pretty just our name because our
Yep.
names are only 3 characters long. I'm like,
Mhm.
I know you can do it. AOC's name is AOC. Let
Mhm.
me have B.
That's true.
Bitch.
Give it to
Give
me.
it to me, you cowards.
Give.
I met a few fellow Jupiters recently on Twitch and other people's chats and in my chat, and it's always fun to meet someone with a similar name,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, I see you out there. We got this thing going on.
We got the same brain.
Uh-huh.
There's so many bees out there. I see so many bees. We always make a running joke in Momo's chat because Momo has so many community members with some variation of like bee in their name that I always come in and heckle Momo. I'm like, oh, but I'm the best bee, right? And they're like, bee, I'm not taking on this fight. I'm not doing it.
Not in front of the other bees, bee, please.
I can't do it. They're like, this isn't fair. You can't ask me this in front of all the bees, bee.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, I went to go look at my question sheet and almost clicked into a different VC. Not me trying to break things.
B.
Thank God for Discord's new feature that's like, do you really want to go over to this voice channel? Because they used to just be like, zoop.
Yep, it used to just yeet you into the next place if you
like,
clicked on it.
And you're like, goodbye.
Yeah. The amount of times I've randomly joined a VC and been like, oh no, I have to get out of here.
Wait, no.
This is not where I'm meant to be. Instant regret. Instant panic. Oh my gosh.
I hate that. Or like accidentally calling someone. You're like, no, wait.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that.
Same energy for sure.
I love that.
Oh.
Well, you have, hinted at and talked about Zeppelin quite a bit, which I think people have probably pieced together.
Yeah.
Kidlit. But I, we had Kate on a while back, and I found it, very interesting as someone who obviously doesn't have to balance being a parent with also everything else that you have to do in life. And I guess I'd just be curious, like, what that experience has been like, and what you maybe wish other people understood more about being like a parent streamer and what that entails necessarily.
I've received just so much warmth from being a parent on Twitch from my community. Like anytime Zeppelin's ever needed me, or I've needed to end stream early, or stop a stream because he's sick or not feeling good or just needing me, my community has been nothing but understanding. If he just needs to come and sit with me, they eat it up. They absolutely love it, and they've always been so supportive. So I don't know if there's anything as far as like a negative thing that I could say, not a negative thing, but like a advice type of a thing where I could be like, oh, you can treat parent streamers, better in this way, because I think that they do everything that they can already. And I think that if you're open about being a parent streamer, that your community really takes that to heart. And I don't think there's been one person that said anything negative towards me when I've had to end stream early or anything like that. So it's been really great. It is it's just it's a challenge in general because it gets chaotic and it's very unexpected generally. And sometimes I'll hear him like crying in the background. I'm like, hang on, baby's crying. Like, I gotta listen.
I need to assess the situation.
What kind of cry is this? Do I need to leave? Like, and there was a time when I was first streaming when Zeppelin was still napping and stuff, where he woke up in the middle of his nap, and I was like, usually I can get him back down in like 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm like, okay, we're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. And I was embarrassed. I used to be really like embarrassed. So I would just be like, oh, I have to, take a pee break or something. And I wouldn't say like, oh, Zeppelin woke up from his nap, or tell the community what was really going on. And I'd go like sneak away and then do it. And it started to feel really weird to me and it wasn't a shame that anybody else put on me. It was just like this internalized thing that I had. And once I kind of came out of that and accepted it and kind of realized like, oh, my community likes Zeppelin too. Like, they're not just here for me, they're here for all of it. Like, they're along for the entire ride. And then I would like come back and I'd be like, I don't know why I lied to you. I didn't really have to go to the bathroom. My child just needed me. So sorry about that.
The guilt thing, right?
So weird.
You felt like you had to hide it, or but you don't.
Yeah, or like it comes off as like unprofessional, right? Because you're not allowed to be a mom and also work and also do all of these things. It's one or the other. You have to either focus entirely on your work or focus entirely on being a mom, and you can't do both things. Like that's the society kind of standard that comes across. So I have all this like internalized crap, honestly, about momming and being a mom and what you can and can't do. And it's like, you can do all of it. You can be a mom and be a streamer and work a full-time job. You can do it if you want to. You can balance those things out, and your child will be okay, and you will be okay, and just figure out what works for you and then do it. And if it doesn't work, then try something else.
Right. Yeah. There's no shame in trying, and there's definitely no shame in remembering to not only, of course, care for your child and always put them first, but you have to put yourself first in balance with that, right? Because we're human and we have our own needs, and we need to be social and have community and follow our passions. And you know, you're a better mom because of that, I'm certain, because you're
Yeah.
happier, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, especially with COVID and everything, like I live in a high risk household with my dad and stuff. So I wasn't seeing any of my friends. I wasn't going out. I was like lysoling my mail and being really extra about everything because I was just terrified the whole time. And um, so Twitch really gave me a space where I could actually like fill my social needs bar and just be around with people and hang out with people and make new friends and everything. So I kind of started to switch my brain from like, oh, you're taking time away from your child and not playing with your child and not doing anything with your child and you're a terrible mom, to you're just going out with your friends, or you're just like doing your hobby for a minute while the grandparents watch the baby like a
Hmm.
normal human being. Like,
Right. And
It's complicated because you're in your house where he is, you
right.
know, that
yeah.
distant, that like physical geographic distance that helps you kind of mentally be like, okay, like I'm doing this other thing, and put him out of your mind. And of course, you're a parent, he's never like completely out of your mind, but like
Yeah.
focus on being in a different realm is gone. And I know that like a lot of people have experienced that in general, just like, you know, doing your work in your house with someone else, but they can't engage with you because you're working, but they're right there and the
Yeah.
temptation is right there. So it's COVID has really complicated, you know, that navigating all the different things that we have going on in life, all from like a single space.
Yeah. It really has. It's been an interesting journey for everyone, and just seeing everybody have to kind of put their creative caps on to figure it out has
Mm.
been, it's been amazing because it there was like this, especially at the beginning, there was like this really like a global slowdown.
Hmm.
Like
Mm.
everything just felt so slow for a minute, and then it was really interesting to see. I don't know. That was kind of off topic, but
No,
came
but
out
I
of my
think
place.
it, no, I love when people go off topic because it makes
Hmm.
my brain, it does the little gears. And I think, I mean, definitely here in America, like we need to slow down. Not that it was a good like a good reason for it. Obviously, not like nothing about the situation is great, but
Right.
we are very zoom, 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 and it's like presented as though that is a necessity and that that's the only way that the world goes round. And I think they're going to have a really hard time pulling people back into that mentality now that they've seen that the world can go round just fine and everyone can breathe a little bit more and not, you know, constantly have to be on their A game productivity wise, doing things,
The
going all the
hustle.
time.
Hustle,
Mhm.
hustle,
Yeah.
hustle mentality. I hate it. And I think that's a thing that's been really relieving, Twitch and the entire Twitch community, is that I've found so many like-minded people, whereas like my IRL friends tend to have that kind of hustle mentality, and they're always on the go and whatever, and I kind of felt like weird or like wrong for not wanting that, and like enjoying being bored. Like I haven't been bored since I had my son, but I used to enjoy being bored, and nobody else I know enjoys being bored. Like my best friend, for instance, she just has to be doing something at all times, and it has to be something productive, otherwise she like just feels like off and she'll get anxiety from it and everything, and that gives me anxiety. I'm like, this is, I can't do that. But then I came to Twitch and everyone's like, no, I totally get that. Like, I love being bored. Being bored is entertaining to me, and slowing down is a normal thing to do. And we don't have to hustle to have a like valid life, or thrive in this life. Like you can slow down and breathe and take things slow and take things easy and do that part of life too.
That's
Yeah.
like the magic of having a global network, is that you can make connections with, you can be very strict with who your friends are and who your connections are, and really connect with people who hold your same values and same interests and that kind of thing. Whereas the chances that, you know, in the next 3 block radius around you, that there's going to be the right person for you in terms of what you really need for support and friendship and love, you know, platonic or otherwise, is like slim. You know, I think,
Yeah.
I don't know. For a like I think for a long time, like we talk a lot, you know, we see how like the divorce rates are really high and that kind of stuff. And I think part of that is, for a long time they like really only had the ability to make connections with people immediately around them, and now like we get to make connections with people anywhere, and we can be picky and choosy about who really, you know, fills our cup and shows us love in the way that we need to be shown it, which is pretty special.
That's such a good way to put that. I have nothing to add. We can end it there.
All
That
right,
was just such a good
good
that
show.
was such a good way to say that. I know. Bye, everyone.
Good first show of the year. I think we talk about this with every creator that we've interviewed, and just like the power that Twitch and online communities have for really being able to curate your space, as B has said, and really be able to center in on finding humans who are similar to you in values, in, you know, how they identify, in the questions they have in life, so you can sit and discuss those things together. And no matter if you're a person who likes to be bored or who likes to be doing something all the time, you can find other people who are just like you and want to sit and have those conversations and be part of a community together. And it sounds like you've absolutely found that within your community and found people who are like you. So what has it been like, you know, curating your space, and especially as, you know, someone in LGBTQIA plus community and beyond, like, how has Twitch helped you kind of find your people? What has that experience been like for you?
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there. So at first, I think I was really like easygoing about things. Like I kind of let anybody into my space, just because that it seems like when you start, that's what you like should do.
Mm,
Because even if there's somebody like there's one person in your chat, and even if they're kind of giving you icky feelings, there's that one person in your chat, and that like somehow seems better for some reason at first, but now I'm just like, okay, this person's messing with the entire energy in chat. Just get them out. Just remove them. Like I can't do it anymore. I'm irritated. I'm creeped out. Get out. So it's like a very dramatic leap all of a sudden. Like I don't know when the shift happened, but it went from 0 to 100. It was literally just like one day I was like, you know what? I don't have to have you here. I really don't have to have you here at all.
mm-mm.
It just doesn't need to be a thing. Um, and I don't know, it's just like it's been such an interesting journey to kind of go through with kind of curating exactly who you want in your space and how and it's kind of like a magnet. Like as soon as you turn on stream, there's this magnetic effect for people finding you and clicking in your chat. And you'll know that those people are there to stay almost right off the bat. And it's amazing to kind of see that community come forth and create it that way. And they helped me, like my chat has helped me create the community that I want and figure it out. And also I kind of because you mentioned the LGBTQ thing, so shifting to that, I didn't really I kind of came out on Twitch. So this has been a weird journey. I like kind of in the back of my head, I think that I always kind of knew, well, obviously I knew that I was not straight, but I didn't really admit it to myself or anything until way later, because I did this like serial monogamous thing where I just kind of rolled through relationships with man after man after man, and I didn't really give myself a break in between them to kind of find myself or come into my own. Um, and figure anything else out. And I didn't really like think of anything else as an option for me. Just because I had unrealistic expectations of like, oh, I'm gonna get married when I'm like 20, just like my parents and my grandparents, and then I'm gonna have babies by the time I'm 21, and it's gonna be great and fantastic, just like they did. That's not how life works, past pre. And so I was finally in a space after I had Zeppelin to where I could really give myself that break and explore who I am as a person. And once I got onto Twitch and kind of saw other people just being themselves and being who they are, and just kind of explaining their mind and the way that they think and everything, I was like, I just started to have all these realizations. Me like, oh, my first like experiences were a little gay. This thought I used to have also a little gay.
Hindsight 2020 is a
Maybe.
bitch.
Like maybe.
Oh, we've all been there.
Am I a little gay?
Wow, and the birds of a feather thing too, Brie, because literally everyone you were hanging out with was also like other queer streamers.
No, literally not. Like when I finally came out to my parents, my dad just goes, "That actually makes sense because you have a lot of gay friends." And I'm like, "That's not really how it works, but
But we'll go with that, yeah.
I guess." And he's right too. Like even in high school, all of my girlfriends ended up coming out like right after high school, and then I was like the only straight girl at their giant gay parties, and it was still not obvious to me. They used to call me Noodle. They were like, like you're a noodle, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. And they're like, well, you're straight until you're hot.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not.
I'm not a noodle.
Silly.
I would like to attend a giant gay party personally, so
There was Jello wrestling involved
Oh.
and noodle wrestling. There was like stuff happened at these parties, y'all.
Wow.
Fun times.
That sounds amazing.
They were really
Sounds like
they
a
were
Brie
really good
after
parties.
dark.
Yeah. Brie
It
after
really
dark
was.
stream.
It's not good. It's a whole different version of chaos. But yeah, and then I just kind of started streaming under like I used the tag, and I just kind of I didn't want it to because I was like 28 or something at the time. I'm like, I don't want to have to like come out. Like it's kind of just like I used to not like strawberries, and now I've realized that I like strawberries. Like I just want it to be a thing now, but like there's this pressure that you have to like make it a big to do and like come out on social medias and come out to your friends and family with like cake and shit. And I don't, and it's completely valid if that's the way that you choose to do it. And I think especially for like if you're young and need to come out, doing it in a fun way is absolutely amazing like that. But just for me at that time in my life, I had a kid and I was living with my parents, and I didn't feel, and I knew that they wouldn't care because my family's awesome. And so it didn't feel like a big thing to me to have to do that. And so I just kind of started being like accepting the gayness in my head and just started like being more gay in my head and like letting myself be like, oh, that boobs, you know?
I do understand.
T.
Yeah.
We've accepted the head canon. We're here. Okay.
Exactly. So then actually one of my viewers came in and they were like, how did they even say it? They were like, oh, hey, now that I've known you a little bit longer, can I ask what letter in the LGBT community you are? And I was like, I've never answered this question before. I'm like, do I say it? Do I say it out loud? How do I say it? My brain just like froze and stopped, and I was immediately just like, I've never had to approach this question. I know in my head, but I haven't said it out loud. And I was just like, I'm the B. I'm the B. And, and I realized this, but I didn't realize pansexual was really like something that I identified with more than. But back then it was the big B. And so I said it, and that was like the first time I actually said it. And there was one of my IRL friends in my stream at that time, and they were like, they kind of mentioned it to me on the side, so I accidentally came out to IRL people on my stream. And then more came out to like my family and stuff, but it just, I don't know, it took a while because like you're trying to find this like space to say it, because you're like, what's the best time to just kind of, and I'm not a planner, I'm a blurter, I'm a type of a person. So, but you don't want to scare people with that. You don't want to just be like talking about what you want for dinner and just be like, I'm gay. By the gay, very gay. Like it just like you can't just. There has to be some sort of a lead up to it. I don't know. It just felt. It's been very weird this journey, but my mom was telling me about this traumatizing show that she watched. I don't even know. It was like some sort of. It was based off of real life, and it was about this. I won't tell the whole movie, but it was about this dad who has a gay son, and he's like trying to accept his gayness and walks across America because the son got bullied or whatever. And she's just telling me the story, and I'm like, this seems like a good time right now because we're talking about somebody who's gay. So this seems like my entry.
This is the moment.
Seems like where we could go. And I was just like, can I tell you something? My parents were like, I don't know.
Stop yelling.
Sorry. I identify as pansexual, and the first question is, what is that? Because they're boomers. They don't know what that is. I'm like, it's bisexual with a twist. I don't know.
Oh my god.
And they're like, that actually makes sense. We love you no matter. They kind of said like all the things you're supposed to say, but in an awkward way, because they're like, this is dumb. Like, you already know we're gonna love you no matter what. You already know we don't care, but they're like, well, we love you no matter what. Obviously, like, I don't. That's fine.
What do you want me to say?
Thanks for the new vocabulary term.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for the English lesson.
So now my mom keeps coming out with like outfits on. She's like, Brie, does this look gay? I'm like, what do you mean, Mom? It's a t-shirt. I mean, yeah, actually, you do kind of look like a lesbian. If you're going out with Dad, maybe change out of that one. I don't know. But she's like, I know you'll give me an honest answer. Like, it's a piece of clothing. It's not plaid, so we're somewhere.
I would just like to say that coming out on Twitch in a text in any way that you choose is completely valid. Like Brie said,
Yes.
like you don't have to throw a party. You don't have to tell everyone in your life. Like any way you choose to come out if you want to is amazing and valid and incredible. And honestly, like the bravery that it takes to talk about it live on stream is something that people don't really realize sometimes because it's very vulnerable. You know, you're putting yourself out there, and the queer experience is a journey that never ends. So you're constantly questioning at the same time, like, am I saying the right thing? Is this the right label for me? So good for you, because it's not easy. And it's very, very admirable, because you never know who's out there listening who is like, wow, maybe I could come out now. You know, maybe I could have the strength to tell people who I am inside. And I think that you are hilarious, and you do everything with an amazing like bit of comedy to it, which makes for incredible content and makes you very like warm and approachable. But at the same time, you're doing something very, very brave when you talk about it. So I just want to like, you know, sit in that for a second, because it's important to remember your strength and like remember these parts of your journey, because it takes an incredible amount of vulnerability and strength to do that. So like, good job. You know, you did really, really awesome.
Thank you. What? I'm speechless now.
That
was really nice.
It's really tough to talk about that stuff on stream, you know, and even if it's you talked about it once, or even if you just talk about it a little tiny bit, like you're still opening yourself up. And you know, there's people in your community who feel safe around you and feel safe to be themselves around you because of that. And maybe in other spaces now too. So it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I think that as queer content creators, we have to come out every time we create content, every time we get a raid, every time someone new comes into our chat. We have to come out every time that happens, because it's not just an obvious thing. And if you want to live in that space and be in that space, it's something that you have to really be that label in order to keep yourself and the community members safe, and make sure that the people coming into your space are aware of what they're stepping into and everything. And it sucks that that's the way that the world works, but It is.
Yeah, but in the same token, like on the other side
It's
of that
amazing.
coin, like it is amazing, and know that it's okay if you ever want to change your labels,
Yeah.
or if you ever are like, well, maybe this fits me better, like being pansexual, like that, or saying like I would say I'm bi or pan, like whatever, like that's all
Yeah.
completely valid. So don't feel like you're stuck in being whatever label that is, because you're valid to change that anytime you want, and it's all part of your journey if you want to.
Exactly. Absolutely. And like I think I even found out because I didn't really know much about pansexual like how like I don't know. I never really looked into it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And my stream actually started telling me about it. And so I ended up like switching my labels like on stream. I'm like, "Oh, maybe I'm that instead." And then it kind of to everything. I swear I've learned so much, not just about myself, but about like the world and how the world works just from streaming. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely ridiculous. Like the amount of things that I've figured out culturally from streaming and figured out like societally from streaming and how other people work and how other people live their lives and just kind of opened up to so many new things just from being in streams and learning from the people in my community. It's absolutely amazing. It's so cool the type of human connection that you get from the space.
Yeah, it really is. And like, I mean, I didn't even know what the term pansexual was a few years ago. Like, you know, so like as someone like who is bi, like the only thing I ever knew growing up was just basically people being biphobic, which is why I was terrified to come out ever. And then, you come out as bisexual, and then you start to learn when you join queer communities and queer spaces that there's all this terminology, and we're still inventing it together, So like that's why it's so valid to be like, well, actually, I think this one fits me a little better,
Yeah.
But
I think it's hard not to feel the pressure of like being queer, meaning you should, in any capacity, meaning you should be like the resident queer expert on everything, especially especially in the streaming community. And if you are using the tag, I feel like there's sometimes this element of people, and I'm not saying that particular person, because obviously it sounds like they asked in a very respectful way, but like there is this element of people coming in and like wanting you to educate them on like the whole queer experience. And I'm like, listen, I can only tell you like what I've gone through and what it means to me and what my journey looks like. Like I unfortunately think a lot of people want like really easy definitions, really easy answers, and they want it to make sense in their head perfectly, and that they can just put the little puzzle pieces together and be like, yes, I get it. And then as soon as they start to realize, and I'm sure this is true with like every marginalized community, but as soon as two queer people are like, I actually look at this word differently, and like that's okay, we can both have our own understandings of this, folks are like, what the fuck, what am I supposed to do with that?
Where's the easy answer?
How am I supposed to put the puzzle pieces together? You're now telling me
they don't fit.
You're telling me there's two different pieces that can go in this spot, and y'all are just okay with that? And we're like, I mean, yeah, like, do you not understand like the basic innate idea of queerness is that it's different, it's shifting, it's molding. We use the words to find community, but they are not a perfect representation of existing in life and like human connection. So it's like sometimes our behaviors aren't going to align perfectly with the words we use, because we choose that in that moment that like that experience, that person feels right regardless of whatever label we're using, and it might not work out perfectly. So it's just, I don't know.
Yes.
There's no easy answer, friends. You're just gonna have to get to know each and every queer person that you know, and like get to know them for who they are and what it means for them in their life.
That's right.
Yeah, and like I think that it's a personal journey. It's your own personal journey, and give yourself the breathing room that you need to experience exactly who you are and exactly who you want to be and are choosing to be without this layer of like feeling the need to label yourself. There doesn't need to be any labels. There really doesn't. I think labels is just kind of help us fit into the little boxes in society and help us find community, like B was saying, but you don't have to be in any of those boxes. You don't have to be under any of those labels. Just be honest with yourself and accepting of yourself, and let yourself be who you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
and
most
you can
important.
be part of the community and be like confused and be unsure of exactly how you fit in, and but you have this innate knowing that like I am a part of this community. I don't know where exactly I situate right now, and that's okay, And I think some of us who are very bold and loud and comfortable in our positionality could sometimes stand to be like a little more understanding of those who are still kind of finding their way and may not, be running around with like their, pride flag hanging out. But they just kind of dipping their toes in, and maybe got to make room for them to kind of like figure out how they fit into everything.
Yeah, and I think that's very kind of humbling to think about too, is like we were all there at one point.
Oh yeah.
Because we're all thrown into society as like there's only this one way to be. Like we're all like I'm trying to say I was about to say we're all born straight, but that's not what I meant to say at all.
Normativity, like we assume
society would like for that to be true, but unfortunately, unfortunately for them,
like you have to realize that on your own, and it's hard to come into that understanding. And I think that it's important to realize that you grow with your sexuality, and you're always going to keep growing with it, and it's gonna change, and it's gonna shift, and it's gonna be this one day and be this another day, and if it's not, then that's valid too, and it's all okay. It's all okay. Just let it be.
Let It Be starts playing like oh my gosh.
Like Frozen's Let It Go, but let it be.
Yeah, exactly.
I like how B went to Frozen and Choopy was on the Beatles.
I was on the Beatles, yeah. But both are good. Both are good.
Great.
Both are good.
Great. What can I say? Oh, let's see. So many wonderful tangents. Now my brain is just like trying to be like, where are we? What are we doing? So many good conversations, though. Very affirming, very important to remember, I think.
Yes.
I know myself, there have been, a lot of times where I think that's an area where I could grow in like letting people be a part of the community, even when they don't know like what that entails exactly. Because I think sometimes like that fear, right, of people being harmful keeps us on edge of like, I don't want people in this space who don't understand what we're going through. But that can limit folks who are like, I do understand, but I can't really explain to you why I understand, because it's just like part of who I am right now, but I'm not sure in which way. And there have been lots of times where someone has kind of been like, beat, like, I am the thing, I just don't know what the thing is yet. And I'm like, oh, I see, yes, okay, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have necessarily had to tell me that for you to feel 100% welcomed and included in this space.
Yeah, so. And it's hard to kind of reverse that too, because you get so protective of these spaces and so protective of even the labels, that it's hard to kind of see outside of that sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It is. And like you said, Brie, as queer streamers, of course we have a responsibility to ourselves to be true, to allow us to go on our journey. But, we do really have a responsibility to be good role models in this space and to lead this space with kindness and compassion and empathy, because we're kind of paving the way for queer communities to grow on Twitch. Like this is just now starting to happen, where it's becoming more popular for queer streamers to be on the front page and to get partnered and et cetera, et cetera. So, I do take that responsibility, and I like hold that in my heart, because I want to make sure that people are coming into our spaces and they feel safe and they feel validated, and they feel like they have a place where they can belong, whether they choose to use labels or not, whether they are, whatever labels we choose to use or not. It's a whole added extra layer of fun to streaming.
It is.
But it's a good thing, it's a good thing. And of course it comes with, ups and downs, but I think queer streamers are awesome, and I think that we're doing really, really good work in this space and in other online spaces.
Yeah, and even with the negativity and the troll, all that stuff that comes with it, I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolutely. No way.
Yeah.
Go us.
What is it like? Go little rock stars.
Yes.
Yeah. For all the queer streamers.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It doesn't. Did you know it doesn't even actually say that? It says the Pope is a rock star.
What?
That's what the song name is. That's what it's called, and everyone's.
Why is the Pope a rock star?
I don't know, but that's what the name of the song is.
I'm shook.
We're
changing it.
Like, wait.
If I was on my own stream right now, I would press the stream ending button. I can't. What is this information? I'm broken. What do you mean that's not what it says? Now I'm gonna hear that every time that I listen to it.
I know. It ruined it for me too. It's okay. But if you actually look at like the sound bite, that's the name of the sound.
Wow.
Pope is a rock star. TikTok trends.
Well, okay. Anyways,
this is shaking me to my core.
About the Pope.
No, I can't. I will process that. I'm gonna put that in a box.
Yeah, we gotta
process that information later.
We gotta compartmentalize that one until later.
You're good.
Going, yeah, it's Pope is a rock star.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that. I see. Yeah.
Fact checked.
Well, Bree, what is one goal, big or small, that you have for the year ahead?
Oh, I have a lot of goals this year. Let me think. What's the one that I want to share? I would really, really like to make partner. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I'm confident and I'm hopeful with the growth. But I think more than making partner, I think it would be I think I'd like to make content full time. I'd like to be in a place where I can make content full time, regardless of whether or not I have a check mark. So that's definitely a goal of mine, is kind of growing my channel and the community stream wise. But personally, I have different goals outside of that, like emotionally and mentally. I really want
when British Brie comes out.
As two people who also constantly speak in a British accent, we appreciate it.
I don't know where it comes from.
It just happens.
Earlier you were talking about like little Brie, and somebody in chat was like, "Why is little Brie British?"
It just comes from the soul. There's no way to explain it.
I know. Sometimes it's not even a British accent. It's like an accent. I don't even know what it is. It just comes out of my face. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
You're valid.
My brain just hears it. I think in many different accents, apparently. But
yeah. It's a brain worm for sure.
Yeah. I think it's when I get awkward too, when I'm like over explaining something or feel like I'm about to over explain something. Start to think like that. But I think one of my goals this year is to really get back into my yoga, because I have a lot on my plate all the time, and it's hard to make the space for yoga. But I really, really want to make the space for yoga because it makes my life so much easier. When I just do the yoga, it makes it so much easier. It makes like my body physically feel better. It makes my anxiety feel better. It helps me so much, and I really want to get back into that so that I can kind of take better control of my anxiety, or not even control it, but just kind of flow with my anxiety. Because I think that when I try to control it or like fight the anxiety, it makes it a lot worse. And I've been trying to get better at like just sitting back and letting the anxiety kind of just play through, and like really feeling into it, and like sitting and having some tea with it, you know, offering it some tea.
Yeah.
and really just sitting there and just sitting with the anxiety and letting it happen because you're feeling it for a reason. I think it's important to validate the own emotions that you're having and create a safe space for yourself to have those emotions even though they're hard. And so I'm trying to get better at that as a goal for what year is it? 2022.
That's a really good goal. And I really like what you said. And obviously it goes perfectly with yoga, is like flowing with the anxiety, because I don't, tell me if this is true for you, but like for me as a person with anxiety, it's always there. So like
Yeah.
no matter what you try to do, you can suppress it, try to push it down. Like those tactics don't work for me. You're absolutely right. You do have to just sit with it and learn how to make it a more productive part of how you live your life rather than letting it control everything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anxiety is
exactly.
like, it's like the little person on your shoulder sometimes, it's there no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I don't know, especially when you're having like some sort of an anxiety attack or something, my brain often goes into like this thought process of like you're having anxiety, you're having anxiety, you're having anxiety. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And it like goes into this panic mode. And instead of just being like, okay, you're having anxiety, this is the feeling you're having. It's okay. It's okay to have this anxiety. It's okay to be here and feel anxious about whatever it is, even if it's nothing, even if
Mhm.
it's absolutely nothing that you're feeling anxiety over. It's okay and it's valid. And I don't know, it's important to let those feelings in the way that they present themselves, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And yoga is so great. Oh, you're going
Oh
to
my God,
inspire
I
me
love
because
yoga.
like, it makes you feel so good. But when you fall off, it's like, okay, I'm done for a long time. But getting yourself back into it is really difficult. But once you do, it's like, why did I stop?
I know. You get that like yoga high after. It's like you feel like taller. That's
Yes.
my favorite part
Oh my
after you're done with
gosh.
yoga is that I feel like 10 inches taller. I'm like, I'm 6 foot now. Nothing can stop me. I can see the tops of all of your heads.
It makes me giggle because I never really do much yoga, but it's like the same concept of like journaling. For me, it's this idea of like, wow, if I do the coping mechanism, it actually helps me cope.
It works.
Yes, it's
If I
weird.
do this the self-help tactic, if I do the thing that like helps my brain do better, my brain does better.
Shocking.
Wow.
Who knew?
Who knew? Coming to you live from Humans of Twitch today to tell you, if you do the things that help your brain, they help your brain.
You're all welcome for this free information that we're bestowing upon you.
It's
That's
actually not.
it. Cut the
This is not
show.
free.
That's the end. You've learned everything that you need to know today.
So
Yeah.
you're a yoga teacher, Bree. Have you been
Yes.
teaching throughout the pandemic, and have you done any like online like teachings or anything like that? Because I know it's like, I'm someone who used to go to yoga class like physically, and I loved that, but obviously that's dramatically shifted since the pandemic
Mhm.
has begun.
Yeah. So I stopped teaching when I got pregnant with Zeppelin because I was in a place where I was teaching 2 to 3 times a week. But I was teaching hot classes. And
Ooh.
they were so nice. And I worked at this like very hippy dippy spa, and they like had herbal kettles with like fresh herbs in them, so it created this like sauna experience. It wasn't just like heated, it like felt good on your joints and everything, and it smelled good, and you use all these like nice oils,
Ooh.
and it made you like sweat even more, but in like a way that smelled good, like lang lang, and it was fantastic. And so I was doing that, but then I also I talk a lot, obviously, when I'm teaching yoga, because I'm teaching everybody's body into the poses, so it's like nonstop talking. And when I was pregnant, doing that in a hot class was made it really hard to breathe.
I bet. I'm sure.
And so like I think I was a little more than halfway through my pregnancy when I had to stop. And then I obviously had a newborn, so it was a little bit hard to get back into it and everything. And then the next time I taught was actually on stream. My
Wow.
community, we had a community challenge, and they had me do a yoga stream, but that was about a year ago. And it was a lot of fun. I was so nervous about it because I didn't know what kind of trolls I was going to get. And I only saw one person doing yoga on Twitch, and they were getting some comments in there. So I was in sub only mode. I had my mods watching chat like a hawk. I made sure that nobody was saying anything. It was just about the yoga. But it was really cool to teach online like that. It's definitely different because a lot of the teaching that I do, like the way that I learned how to teach yoga was to teach people, not poses. And I think in the West, a lot of people learn to teach the poses and not people. And so for me, it's really hard to teach yoga when I can't see the people and what they're doing, because I can't tell if my direction is doing the right thing. And obviously I do the poses alongside to kind of help and guide that way, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's a lot different teaching online because
There's no
usually I can correct it.
nonverbal. There's no nonverbal cues. You can't see
Yeah.
someone indicating because people will sometimes be embarrassed that they're having a hard time with it, but you can read it all over their face. But if they're on a computer from far away, you don't know if they're having a hard time with the pose that you're trying to teach them.
Yeah, exactly. And you can feel the different energies coming off of them too, like if they're embarrassed in a pose or if they're feeling uncomfortable in a pose, and you can just be it's okay to stop here and kind of cue that way. But I couldn't personalize it as much as I would, so it just kind of always felt weird. I would probably do it again, but I don't know. I think I definitely have to get better and really get close with the community, and be able to kind of talk and answer questions afterwards, or have people take notes on what they kind of had issues with or whatever, so that we could kind of break it down a little bit more, because then that would make me feel more comfortable doing it, because I just want everybody to feel comfortable in the poses, because yoga is about stretching and straining yourself. It's about extending and expanding the body to further that mind-body connection. And so that's just what I want the experience to be. So it's weird for me to teach yoga online. But
I wonder if you had a Discord call going separately from what you were showing on stream. If you were on stream only showing yourself, obviously, because people aren't gonna get on camera and be you could see them then and maybe communicate a little bit more.
That's actually a really good idea.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm gonna look into that.
And then it also helps because the people who are being involved are obviously your community members because they're in your Discord.
Yeah. And then I could, that's actually a really good idea. And they're the ones that are probably be giving me the feedback anyways, because they're the ones that want to actually do the yoga. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
It's not the same, of course, but being able to try a new format to do something that you love and that you want to teach it's worth a shot.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
Because I know I remember your original yoga stream, and I remember you trying to answer questions, but it was a bit difficult because you're also doing the yoga for people and trying to look at your computer. But if people were just kind of in your ears being how do I do this, you could just answer them.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I love that.
I'm just imagining everyone with their wireless headsets on, okay, let's go, squad. We got this.
I'm ready. I got my buds.
It's perfect.
Yes.
I would
my off-brand AirPods.
I would love to join. I would absolutely join.
It's so fun. Oh my god, I love you.
Well, and we were talking a little bit in chat. Sab was talking about chronic illness and stuff, and how sometimes that makes it hard. And I was telling them you could always ask Brie, because Brie is very good at answering questions about how you could do things differently when things are youchy.
So, yoga is for every single body can do yoga no matter what. You might have to adjust the poses or do something differently or find something that works for you, but you can do the poses. There's chair yoga.
There's laying down yoga.
There's yoga where you only do 7 to 10 poses in an hour, and you're just laying there restoring the body and breathing. There's laughing yoga where you just sit there and laugh for an hour.
Oh, that sounds
which I've
fun.
always wanted to try.
That sounds really fun.
Can you just imagine just like sitting down to a class and just going like and just everyone sitting there laughing hysterically for an hour? It sounds fantastic. There is bed yoga as well. There's all the yoga.
There's lots of different.
It's just moving your body, and I think that people get caught up in their heads in like the perfect poses that they see on Instagram, or people throwing themselves up into inversions. But like, I can't do more than like a simple inversion, and I've been doing yoga for like 7 years now. I can't touch my toes without bending my knees a little bit because it hurts and it's straining, and you don't want to strain your body. Yoga's not supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be a little bit uncomfortable. Like, you're supposed to find the discomfort, and you're supposed to find some comfort in that area because you are extending and expanding the body, and you're going to find discomfort in some places, but it's not about stretching or straining it. And so it's all about what you're feeling comfortable with in your own body. But everyone can do it.
Well, let me know the next time you have a class because I would like to attend.
Okay.
The chat is in agreement. Everyone wants a Bree.
We're signing up.
Yoga session.
Cute. Okay. Fine. I'll figure it out.
No rush. No rush. No rush.
I hope I have the space. I'm gonna have to do it on my bed or something.
It'll be bed yoga.
Bed yoga. There we go.
I love it to see it. We love to see it. It's really cool though. Like, all things aside, like, I really loved when you did that, just because I do think it's really cool when content creators take skills that they hold outside of creating content and find like fun ways to make it part of what they do, and like integrate it into what they care about, with whether it's like channel points or an event that you hold or things like that. Like, I think it's fun watching people blossom into realizing that like their stream is their space and they can really do whatever they want with it. Whereas I think in the beginning you feel really restricted to like, this is how a stream is supposed to look and this is what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like around the time that you were exploring and doing stuff like that, I was like, she's having her moment where she realizes she can do literally whatever she wants on stream.
You can turn anything into content.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Because especially,
which is a good and a bad thing.
Especially once you have like a really well-established community, because they enjoy your company, they don't really care what you're doing. So they may have joined you for The Sims or the Animal Crossing, but they wind up staying because they really enjoy your company and the company of the other people in that space. So they're excited to watch you be excited to do something else.
Yeah, and it's really nice, like, realizing that too, and in my own, being able to be more authentic in this space that I created and show the different sides of myself, because obviously I'm not like this like bubbly, goofy, high energy person 24/7. That would, oh my god. Can you imagine if I was? I'd be like a puppy. But like, I don't have the energy for that. Like, sometimes I have to be like, I have to have my mom hat on. Sometimes I gotta, do my yoga stuff and chant and be a weird hippie with my sage and crap. Like, there's just so many different facets to who everybody is as a person. And I think that especially on Twitch, when you're in this space that is so like can feel restrictive, kind of, it's easy to forget that there's like a whole human involved in this.
And do you find like when you will start to talk about one of your interests, like say you get on to talking about yoga, that people in chat will be like, oh my god, like I love yoga too, and you like find that new connection with your viewers, which is really, really cool.
Yes, almost every stream, because I have a like a timed command alert that comes on to stretch and breathe with chat, and so I kind of teach it like a little yoga breath really quick, and so usually people are like, oh my god, that feels good, or like they actually do it with you, and you're like, I never expect anybody to do it with me, even though I know now that people do it with me when I do the thing. I still for some reason think I'm doing it alone every single time, but every single time we do it, there's somebody in chat that says something about it, like, oh, I needed that, or oh, that felt like yoga or whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm a yoga teacher. And they're like, what? No way. And you get this whole new conversation topic and this whole new connection piece. And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You gotta venture outside the box.
That's right. That's right.
I think it makes your journey more sustainable. Like the idea that you're going to be, there's a whole conversation happening right now, especially for bigger streamers, of like the expectation of like how long and how often you stream. And all that aside, like I think coming into your own and feeling really using your space and being the human that you are that day makes it so much more feasible to regularly spend time with your community for several hours, because the idea that you're going to have the energy to put on a front for like 4 hours plus 3 to 5 times a week is like that. You're going to burn yourself out if you don't give yourself the space to ebb and flow with like how you're actually feeling as a human, because we are multifaceted. So some days we're gonna feel like more chaotic and goofy and silly and joking, and other days we're gonna feel a lot more soft and vulnerable and tired but still want to be there. And like I think when people realize like they don't have to present the exact same stick figure version of themselves for stream every time, and that doesn't mean that they're being inconsistent. It means they're being honest and authentic and not disingenuous by like putting on this like front that they think people want to see.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that was really not hard, but it was weird to come to terms with that when I started streaming, was that people don't actually expect you to be the same every single time you come on. They don't expect you to be this weird shell character version of yourself that you're kind of like putting on a front about. They just want that authenticity, and they just want to see who you are in that moment. And they're going to go through the ebbs and flows of life just like you are. And it's almost relieving when you finally get to that point with your community and you're just like, oh, okay, I forgot. I can be angry. I can be sad. I can be vulnerable with you all. And you're just going to accept me because you know that I'm a human. But it's so easy to forget.
It gives them permission to be human in your space too, right? It gives them permission to come in and be silly and goofy and talkative one day, and then the next day be like, I'm here, I'm vibing, but I don't really feel like talking today. They also don't wind up feeling like they have to be a single version of themselves that you first met them from, which is, I think, really nice as well for their comfortability of being able to enjoy the space fully.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I really like about these spaces, is that you do end up giving people permission to be exactly who they want to be when you do start living authentically as yourself. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
In chat actually asked a question for you, Bree. They said, what do you think is the most memorable stream you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. My most memorable stream. Hang on, I gotta think. Back. I feel like I don't know if I have just one, because there's just so many different ones in like different categories in my brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's like the time that I defeated one of the blights from Zelda Breath of the Wild with a soup ladle. And like it's more moments than stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because streams they're so long, and it's like you're not like this whole thing all the time. So it's more moments for me than streams. But I do think one of the favorite streams that I've ever had is when I did a collab with Tofu 8. And he taught me through a speed run of Resident Evil 8, and it was so much fun.
That
and he just
fun.
was in my ear the whole time, like telling me where to go exactly. And it was so exciting, and it was so much fun. And that's one of my like favorite ones, but also like you know, anytime I ever streamed Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2, those were really memorable for me because we had so much fun. And then there's like the Life is Strange moments where you get like really close with your community and you're like yelling at your community, especially when it got interactive. I let my community make all the decisions for me. The new one, the True Colors Life is Strange, and like that was fun because I'm just like yelling at them, like, what are you gonna choose? Choose wrong the whole time and stuff. And so it's just there's so many different things that happen, or like raising money for charity, and I had to do the mask in a snail mask, or
Yeah, if y'all don't know, Bree's a little bit famous on their TikTokies for doing TikToks with a very interesting snail mask on. There's some thirst traps with snail masks, which are my personal favorites.
It'll awaken something in you.
Oh my gosh.
Something is awakened.
Wow.
This is the snail head.
That's incredible.
It's a lot to take in.
My favorite is definitely when you do like you're like doing a dance or something, but you're just like randomly wearing the snail mask for no apparent reason. And I'm just like, I'm waiting for one of those to go like viral, but have nothing to do with streaming TikTok, and just go like, and people are like, why the fuck did she have a snail head on her
There's been one. I need to learn like some of the popular TikTok dances, but I'm not a dancer. But there's one where I'm just like coming to and I'm just like shaking it to a song or whatever, and that one kind of went viral on TikTok, and everybody's like, I'm so confused. How did I get to snail TikTok or snail TikTok? And then there's people arguing on like, that's not a snail, it's a slug because there's no shell. And
oh my gosh.
People are yelling at each other, and I'm like, this is the weirdest debate I've ever seen in my life, y'all.
But thanks for the engagement. Bye.
Like, I'm not involving myself in this.
All of these snail experts come out of the woodworks.
Yes. But yeah, and then there's like I still remember the first time I brought the snail head onto the stream, and like it's moments for me rather than like my most memorable stream ever. It's the moments that really get to me and really that I really keep.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that streaming is something that is like it's a constant for us, right? You know, so it's like it's hard to break it down per stream like that, but the moments they do really, really stick out. Because I feel like you can remember them so clearly in that moment, what was happening and how you felt. That makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the question, by the way. That was a really good question.
Yeah, Callie, thank you. One of my favorite streams, well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but one of the streams that popped out of my head when I was thinking about Bree streams was when you were, I don't even know what the game is called, but I just remember you were like a little baby crawling on the ground, and there was like a lot of harmful things that this baby could engage with. And I came in and I was like, what the fuck are you playing? What is this? What do you do? I think you were playing with someone else as well, and it was just it was like a good, wholesome chaos that I was just like, I don't know what I've entered in on, but nothing surprises me when I come to Bree streams, so it's like fine.
That game was so funny. Honestly, we should get together and play it. It's like $5 on Steam. It's called Who's Your Daddy?
Oh.
And so the premise of the game is that one of you is a dad and one of you is a baby, and you can have up to 5 dads and 5 babies. And the baby has to basically try and unalive itself the whole time, and like you know, eating batteries, and like there's like a random monkey that sometimes you could eat the monkey's poop, or like electrocute yourself, or like I think one time I was playing with Sip Stefan, and Stefan ended up like getting into the dryer or something, and like the dad character has to like run around the house trying to prevent all these things, or stop the baby, or like give the baby medicine or whatever. Like find it, but the baby can go through all these like tunnels and stuff. It's a ridiculous game, but it's
and the
so
graphics
funny.
Are so hilarious because the little baby moves so weird. He's like and you're like,
that sounds so silly.
I looked up like the weirdest games that you can find, and I saw that one, and I was like, I have have to play it. I have to. It was so weird, but it was so funny. Oh my god. Highly recommend that game. It's very inappropriate, but it's good. Or Dream Daddy was another. That's
Oh,
another
that's
fun
on
one
my
to play on
list.
stream.
That's on my
Yeah,
list for
that's
sure. It seems like fun.
it's so fun. Oh my god, you're gonna love it.
Well, so now that we've talked about snails and babies crawling on the floor, we've covered those bases. Something
damn it.
we've gone full circle here. If you could tell younger Bree one thing right now with everything that you've learned in your journey, what do you think you would tell your younger self?
Just like generally or
Up to you.
stream related?
Up to you.
Okay. Oh god, there's so many things. I think probably trust yourself. Cause I like trust your intuition. Cause I feel I've always felt like a very intuitive person, but I never really trust it. Probably the anxiety.
Yeah.
Like
It's really
and
been the consistent theme from the
I know.
before stream all the way to probably the anxiety. But anyways,
Should rename the show to Anxieties of Twitch. No, but all joking aside, like especially like as the anxiety has kind of grown with me and gotten bigger and a little bit more out of control, it's hard for me to kind of separate it from the intuition sometimes. Like it's hard for me to be like, is this my gut feeling? Like, is this my gut instinct about this being bad, or is this just the anxiety? And I
Mhm.
think that a lot of that comes from like me sort of sabotaging things in the past or letting those feelings go and letting that gut feeling go and then having something traumatic happen because I let that feeling go and I didn't trust the red flags and I didn't trust my own instincts on that certain situation. And so then it turned into this whole like lack of trust in myself, which was sort of self-sabotaging in a way. And so I think that that's what I'd have to tell my younger self is just to trust your own instincts and trust that you know what you know what's what and you know what's coming. And if you see something and you're uncomfortable, it's okay to feel those things and it's okay to be in that space of discomfort and allow yourself to have it and just trust it and be with it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
remember how earlier you were like, yeah, they put that perfectly. I don't have anything to add. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're taught a lot to question our gut instinct and to not really fully sit with like not be aligned with how we're feeling about things if we can't explain it. And I think there are not always words for intuitive things. Like I can't always explain why someone doesn't quite feel safe or why a situation rubs me the wrong way and I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. There's not always words for that. And I think sometimes if we can't explain something with logic, we're asked to kind of like ignore it, or people are judgmental that you're following that intuition and they're like, because they don't understand it, because you can't explain it to them, then they're like, oh, it's just like silly or made up or it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, especially on the front of like seeing red flags and stuff like that in another person and kind of ignoring them. I heard somewhere that like if you grew up in a place where like in a healthy environment, then you tend to ignore red flags more often because they weren't really present in your life. And so you constantly are giving people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. And I think that that comes not just from being raised in a healthy environment, but from being like a healthy human or like from just being a nice person where you want to give people the benefit of the doubt and you want to believe in them and you want to believe that like, oh, that was just a slip up or something like that. But it really is bigger than that. And so it's hard to kind of trust yourself on those occasions, and society definitely to kind of like suppress them and suppress your anxieties and let yourself get into these situations because that's what you're supposed to do or whatever. And it's like, then the thing ends up happening, and then you lose that trust in yourself because you're like, well, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do anything about it. And then it feels like this betrayal to yourself. And it's not. It just feels like that, And I think that it just sucks. It just sucks when that happens, and it sucks that your brain does that. And so I think maybe that's a 2022 thing for me too, is just learning to trust myself again.
Yeah. I think we could all do a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm. It's not
and
easy.
also, like, through that process of unlearning the level of untrust we have with ourselves and kind of recentering ourselves in believing in our intuition, working on not like beating ourselves up, because it's not our fault that we're constantly, have a barrage of messaging that tells us not to trust our own intuition, and that, you have to actively work against that. And you're sometimes going to fall, into the trap again.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting yourself ebb and flow and learning is hard but necessary, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Very much so. I agree.
Joopy, do you want to ask your favorite last question while we have 10 minutes left with Bree?
Sure, I will. So the question that we like to kind of end on, just because it kind of wraps things up nicely and, is more of a lighthearted question, because I know we kind of dig deep here. And sometimes it can be very emotional, but we would love to learn about what Bree's like ideal day away from content creation looks like. Like, just, what do you like to do on a day off or a day that you have for Bree?
I love to go outside, usually with Zeppelin. So I love to just, wake up. I'm a person who loves food. So I really love to start the day off with like a nice breakfast, like oatmeal or cereal or something, and then get Zeppelin situated and go outside. And I live in NorCal, so we have a lot of creeks and stuff around here. So we love to go to the creeks and look at all the birds and the animals and the snails, and get a little muddy and run around and see all those kinds of things out there. Even jackrabbits sometimes in the summer. Or we have like the goats and stuff in the summer that eat all the grass. So we like to go and see the goats and make friends with them and make weird faces at them and stuff. But it's usually just me going outside with my son and wreaking havoc around town and stuff, and then relaxing a little bit in the afternoon and winding down with some Bob's Burgers or something.
Love Bob's Burgers.
So funny.
So good. So good. I love that. NorCal is gorgeous. So I feel like if I lived there too, I would like spend as much time outside as possible, because it's just so picturesque.
Yeah, and the weather is always like really nice. Usually, even if it's raining, it's easy to go outside and stuff. I used to like, when it would rain, I would ask my parents if I could walk home from school and just show up like soaking wet, like because I went through the wetlands and stuff, and just kind of we have a lot of like wildlife reserves around me, so that's where the creeks are located. So there's just a ton of wildlife in there. There used to be like we had beavers at one point. I don't know how beavers even got here, but the beavers like created a bunch of dams around the wetlands, and then it created like this giant lake, which the droughts have kind of made it dissipate. But they used to be so big, and there were so many different animals there, and there's still turtles and stuff sometimes. But it's so much fun. I love living here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm very jealous. That sounds beautiful. I guess with like COVID, living somewhere that you're not like necessarily thrilled to go outside is nice. But generally speaking, outside of that, like, I live in, Chicago. You really have to leave the city to get that nature feeling again. And I grew up somewhere where there was so much of it. So I definitely do miss that energy. Like, we had a wetland right behind our school. Like, we would go, it was literally they called it like the school forest. I don't know why, but be like, for science class today, we're gonna go do some kind of exploration in the school forest. And some kids would always get us in trouble while they were out there, of course, because this was middle school. And they would be told not to go certain places, and then they would go those places, and then they would come back into school like soaked from head to toe, dirty, muddy, and they still had like the rest of their school day to go through. And then they'd be like, you know, complaining, and my science teacher would be like, well, if you didn't go into the wetland, then you wouldn't be soaked, so you get to sleep the rest of the day because we told you not to go.
Learning experience. That's so funny. No, and I think that's like, I feel so lucky living here during the pandemic because we were still able to like leave our house and go see nature because, you know, we could stay away from people when we were outside, so we still had activities to do because having a toddler in a pandemic, so weird.
I'm sure.
So weird. Like,
what has been his like age range during the panini? Because it's been like 3 years now, right?
Yeah, so he's 3.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he's basically known nothing else. I think and right before the pandemic started, I had broken my back, and so I was kind of quarantined for 3 months prior to the pandemic.
Oh wow.
Like as soon as I got out of as soon as I was able to like move and do more and stuff, 2 weeks later the pandemic started.
Wow.
And the shutdown happened. And so we were really like just at home. We were really homebodied for a long time, and he wasn't able to like socialize with other kids. He's never really like interacted with other kids until recently, and even now it's just like, you know, family, friends and stuff like that we go see.
Yeah.
And it's very few and far between, so he's really only interacted. That's why I feel lucky to live with my parents and my sister too, because at least he gets
people time
all the time, and people around, and not just me. Like,
right. Yeah.
But other than that, we've just had to go outside, and I wouldn't even take him to the parks and stuff because they're petri dishes.
Right.
So, and I live in a pretty conservative area, so it's not there's not a lot of masks stuff here. And again, high risk household, so we were extra careful. So we just like it's so weird. It's so weird, and I feel like it's like normal for him to pull in masks and wear a mask.
Right.
Like, can you imagine being 3 and thinking that's normal? It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see how that plays a part in like his development growing up and what that means for him. Like there are probably ways that that'll be really beneficial for him, and ways that that'll present interesting challenges for him to learn and grow through. You know, he'll probably be pretty empathetic and pretty safe and pretty careful, and those are all, you know, good attributes to have, because a lot of other countries were already a lot more thoughtful about illness and like wearing a mask when you were unwell and taking care of like the whole community and not just like yourself. But also, you know, relearning some socialization skills that he can't really practice much right now with like kids his age and stuff, whenever theoretically we one day get to, not that it'll ever go back, but theoretically, hopefully one day we get to a point where, you know, engaging with others isn't quite as unsafe as it is right now.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me, I really because of the dyslexia, I read people's lips a lot to help comprehend things a lot better, and so that was taken away from me. So going to the grocery store and like talking to a cashier sucks for me sometimes because I can't like put those things together. And so I'm wondering like how that's going to affect Zeppelin too, with just being able, like, if he has that same brain as me. Obviously I don't know yet, but if he has that same brain, or if it's going to kind of train him to learn how to kind of like hear and comprehend things differently because of that. I don't know, it's going to be interesting. But he's still normal and happy and perfectly fine, and I'm sure other kids will figure it out too. He's so cute.
Well, and his whole generation will have had that same experience, so it's not like
they'll go through it together.
Solo, and it'll basically probably just shape his entire generation in a slightly different way that we don't really know about. Yeah,
exactly, and it'll be interesting. Sorry, that was a weird off track to that question. But
No, not at all. I mean,
No, you're good at that. You said so many. If we didn't have 4 minutes left, there were so many interesting little tidbits in the
Yeah.
last things that you said. I was like, ooh,
I know.
ah.
We always come to this point where we could easily talk for another hour with every guest because, you know, there's so much to a human and a content creator and
Yeah.
what you see behind the screen, and we love learning about all of those things. But 2 hours is a very good for a talk show, and we've loved talking with you, Bree. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we
Thank
go,
you for having me.
we do have links in the chat if anyone would like to learn more about Bree and go follow her. But if you'd like to let everyone know where they can, the best places to find you, and we're gonna send it off from there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. You two have been amazing. The questions were absolutely amazing. It's so good. But chat, you can find me on twitch.tv/EarthToBree. You can also find me on Twitter and TikTok. My content's been a little low because I've had to make everything private because of personal life things going on. So, but I promise, if you go and follow me on Twitter and TikTok and everything right now, that I will accept those things. I just have to have a little control over it. But yeah,
As
But
you
yeah,
should.
You can find me on Twitch.
Safety is
Yes.
most important.
Yes. And then this month I'm only streaming on Saturdays. But after that I'm gonna go back to the 3 days a week stuff. But I'd love to see any of you there. Thank you again for having me. You two are amazing. I'm always lurking on both of you, by the way.
Oh, Bree is like a professional lurker. Like, I don't call her out, but she is there.
She knows I'm there.
Look, I'm a lurker too, and lurkers are amazing and valid. So yes, more power to the lurkers.
I always get the little like, I'm momming, but I love you. Bye.
I'm here.
I don't even have my headphones on. I don't even know if to say hi back.
I'm here.
It's only sometimes, but sometimes I'm too shy about it.
Yeah.
Me too.
But
Me
I'm
too.
like,
It always makes me smile though. I'm like, there they are. They're doing their little mom thing, but
So
I
sweet.
think it's really good to have friendships like that where like the trust is there that, you know, everyone's doing the best they can to support each other, but like it's not rooted in how much time you spend with that person or how much you support their content. It's more of like an innate thing. You know, it's not a one for one. It's just a healthy, I enjoy you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm here in the background with my, what are those foam fingers? Got a foam finger up for you.
I love streaming because, like, yes, we're all in the same room hanging out, like playing games on the couch, but some people are like way in the back working on their homework, and like I still love them so much. Like thanks for being here.
Yeah, exactly.
You do you.
Some people are like, I'm going to the gym, but I've got your tab up. I'm like,
you're the best. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our first show of 2022 on our brand new channel. Be sure to tell your friends to follow us here because this is where our shows will be from now on. And we will be back next Sunday, same time. And we will also have more information for you all regarding our schedule going forward and all of that very soon, as B and I are in the planning stages now. So look out for that. Be sure to follow us on Twitter as well as here on Twitch for all the up-to-date information. I think B has someone in mind for us to raid today. So
I think they're live. Yet.
Oh, well, that's okay
so
too.
We might have to pick a different wonderful human. Are any of our peeps online?
Let me check.
Let's see. Yeah, so you know, we were already scheduled until February, so things are gonna stay pretty normal up until then. But then Joopy and I have been talking about some ideas of how we want to, you know, change things to make them more sustainable in the long term. So we will update you all on the deets, but you can expect things to be pretty normal until the end of February, and then we'll let you know what's going on.
No one is online of our past guests. So
yeah. No, you're good. There's lots of wonderful humans online, so I think we
can just pick someone.
We will be all good. Let's see. I see 2 people who would be great. Let me
Yeah,
just see.
as no one's online in all of Twitch. It's actually just everyone's offline.
Everybody's
Just
Just us. We are the only ones.
Okay.
That's such a cute raid message.
I think I see a cutie pie we could go say hi to. So let me just
Perfect.
get us set up. They are throwing the raid command. We do have our little Humans of Twitch raid command if you want to come along. We know the show sometimes just lots of feels and stuff. So if you have to kind of raid and run and go, take care of yourself. I'm sure Bree has to go be a mom and be a Bree. So
Be a Bree.
So you can come along and then run away, but we'll just go put a smile on somebody's face.
Let's do it.
Always nice.
We love
Thanks
to raid.
for those of you who are, all hanging out with us outside of just Bree. We really appreciate, even if it's for 5 minutes and you just Droopy, I don't have permission to perform a raid.
Oh, okay.
So
who is it?
Here was the app that I was going for. New channel props.
I got it. Yeah, new channel. Okay.
I think you have to make me an editor. Only editors can
really
start the raid, not just like regular mods.
That's so interesting. Okay. Let's see if I can do it. Well, I mean, I'm the channel, I suppose, so.
I'm pretty sure you can do it, Joops.
I have the power. Did it work?
Yes.
Okay.
Going. All right.
We're going.
We're going for a ride.
We're on our way.
You
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow Bree and, of course, B and I on our channels if you like the vibes here. Follow everyone. Everyone is amazing. And we will see you next Sunday. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.